Good morning and welcome back to Live Without Limits. Stop holding yourself back. Your breakthrough starts here. The place where we talk about rewriting your script and transforming your mindset and unlocking the potential that always has been inside you. I'm your host, Davida Shinsky, and today we're diving deep into something that I know a lot of you struggle with just as well as I do. That feeling of not being enough. It's a feeling that can show up in our careers, our relationships, and even way we see ourselves. We've all been there, feeling like we're not quite measuring up to the standards we've set, or even worse, to the standards others seem to set for us. But here's the truth, that feeling of not enough isn't the reality of who you are. It's simply a story. And today I'm going to share with you how you can rewrite the story and set it up into fullness of who you are always meant to be. So let's get started. And the first thing I want to say is this, that have you ever read the book Scripts People Live? Because it ties into transactional analysis in that if you think back into childhood, what happens? A parent will try to relive their life through their child. So what do? They try to push that child into the career that they want them to have. And often it can be detrimental to the child. And I think we all know the story of Selena and how her father was a failed musician and how he recognized in her talent at a very young age. And basically, instead of holding the job he had that paid the bills, while he had his own restaurant and doing that until the income from the restaurant replaced his income and knew it was consistent, because the restaurant business is a business that can easily go under. So, because it all depends on the economy. And so when their restaurant went under, what did he do? He used his children and put them in the entertainment business while they were still young to build the career that he wanted. And as she got older and had other interests, he discouraged her from those interests simply because he wanted the control over her life and the money she earned based on the entertainment industry, and refused to allow her to even consider doing anything other than music. And then what happened? Because he was so interested in having a fan club that he allowed someone to get close to the family who, at the time, they did not even recognize or know all her background. And then it led to her final, or what happened to her in the end, because they let someone get close to her. She knew how to play the game. She knew how to play them. to get what she wanted. And then when they caught up with her and information about what she was capable of doing, she had already developed an unnatural attraction towards Selena and wanted to control everything about her. And you've seen how badly that can cause problems, because there have been many entertainers that have had stalkers that have basically not only stalked them, but when they got close enough, murdered them. And it's a horrible thing to see to happen to someone who had so much talent and had so much more to live for. So what we are trying to do is help you understand how to take control of your life and live the life you were meant to have, and how to write the script for yourself of what your life goals are, what your plans are, and where you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years. So understanding that not enough is also that we've all expected it at one point or another. The thought that somehow we don't quite measure up. Maybe it's because we don't have the career we envisioned, or we haven't achieved the level of success that we dreamed of. It might even be something as sensible as the feeling like we're not doing enough for the people we care about. Now, let me ask you something. Where did that belief come from? Because if we look closely, not enough is often something we've internalized from the outside world. It might come from the media, society, unrealistic expectations, or even the people around us. We've constantly bombarded with messages telling us that we need to be more, do more, look different, and so we start to believe it. But here's where the magic happens. Not enough is a story we've learned to tell ourselves, and the beauty of stories is that they can be rewritten. And guess what? You have the pen in your hand. Now, let me put it down to this. Think about it. When you're in school and everything is your grades, what happens? If you don't do well enough, if you don't get the grades, what happens to the messages that you're given? It can be you're a poor student. It can be you don't apply yourself. It can be things like you're stupid. You know, and remember this, everyone learns differently. Not everyone learns in the same way. And because we don't all learn in the same way, what happens? If you don't make the grades that expected of you, then automatically you're being given negative messages. You're already being told what you can't do, as opposed to what you can do. Therefore, recognizing where you're coming from, recognizing why you are getting those messages. And if you come from a very toxic, abusive family, what is also happening? Because those parents They want their children, and it's more about how when they talk to their friends, they want to be able to brag about their kids. So what do? They put pressure on you to make better grades, to apply yourself. They don't understand that not everyone learns in the same way. We talk about auditory learning, we talk about visual learning, but there's also another aspect to learning, because you may not do well on tests simply because you get nervous, or what gets into short-term memory does not always get into long-term memory. And because of that, you don't actually show what you're truly capable of. But if you can take that knowledge and apply it and show just how much you really learned, you can be just as good as anyone else. The problem is that often expectations in the classroom can lead to expectations outside the classroom. We just have to understand each of us are unique. Each of us have different qualities. Each of us learn differently. And when you learn differently, then you are not always going to show. And not everyone is a good test taker. Not everyone has a photographic memory that can remember what they see and go back and take a test and do great. We need to recognize that who we are inside can be very different than what people see. Now, also, I want to talk about different personalities, because our personality always determines the outlook that we have on the world around us and how the world sees us. Because there's 4 pure behavior patterns, whether you're talking about the disc, the Myers-Briggs, or even colors. There's always the 4 primary. Now, in the disc, it's the dominant personality that feels as though they can control everything. It's the interpersonal skills that can talk to strangers easily, can make friends easily. It's the steadiness personality. That's the person that literally goes by the book and can sit and read for hours and not be disturbed by what's going on around them. And then there's the conscientiousness behavior pattern, which is the person that questions everything before they make a decision. So, what does that mean? Well, that means that we have all of these behaviors within us. Some of them are our strengths, some of them are our weaknesses, and they also influence how we see ourselves, whether we feel we're not enough or we're more than enough. So recognizing these different behavior patterns, recognizing where they come from, also help us interpret how we see ourselves in the outside world. And remember also this much: every one of us are unique and have certain skills that are really, that make us who we are. And recognizing those skills helps you recognize why and how you can interact with other people and create the kind of relationship that you want to have with the outside world. Now, the root causes of feeling not enough. So why do we feel this way? There are a few key reasons that contribute to this mindset. Perfectionism. And the perfectionism behavior pattern is someone who literally keeps doing things over and over again till it is perfect, or as they perceive it, as being perfect. We've become taught that the perfection is the standard that we should strive for, and when we inevitably fall short, we feel not enough. The truth is, perfection doesn't exist. It's a myth. We're all beautifully imperfect, and that's what makes us human. Now, what happens if someone's a perfectionist and they are giving their children the impression that they have to be perfectionists and that they don't measure up? Well, then that creates the not enough mentality, comparison, social media, the workplace, even in our own circle. There's always someone who seems to compare it all together. We compare our behind the scenes with the highlight and the real to think. I'm just not there yet. But remember, comparison is the thief of joy. It detracts from our own journey. Have you ever grown up in an environment, and I can remember back when I was in high school and everyone was like, you either had to dress alike or you had to figure out a way to be equal or better than someone else, because often parents will compare one child against another and how perfect they are or how they get good grades. And then what kind of message are they giving the other child when they are doing that? That's how you get the feeling of not being enough, and understanding that you have to recognize where it's coming from. The external validation. We've been conditioned to seek validation from others to feel worthy, but relying on external sources for your sense of worth is like trying to fill a cup with a hole in the bottom. True worth comes from within, not from the opinions or approval of others. And that is so powerful. And that is what we've been, all of these things combined talk about, that outside validation that you get from the people around you from the time you're a young child. And what happens is you take the things you hear, you internalize it, and then you're telling yourself over and over again and repeating those same messages to the point that you believe them. And this is also why when we talk about the laws of attraction, what we're doing is saying that when you're putting out the message, you're not enough, then what happens? You continue to feel that you're not enough, and the world around you begins to recognize you as not being enough. Therefore, when you change the messages you're giving yourself and you change your thinking, then you can learn how to deal with this in a way that can help you get to the next level. So the next thing we're talking about is past experiences. Many of us have experienced rejection or failure in our lives, and these experiences shape the way we view ourselves. If you've been told you're not enough or make to feel inferior in any way, it's easy to carry that belief into adulthood. But here's what you need to remember. None of these things define you. They are just the influences, not the truth of who you are. So, remember, we talked about past experiences and failure. Well, here's the thing. Failure is just a part of life, because when you set goals, you may have one direction of what you think is going to be successful, but it may not be your way of doing things. Recognizing that, taking it and moving it to the point where you can change your behavior and you can use that failure as a learning experience. Because remember this, some of us can be good at math. Some of us can be good in writing. Some of us, we all have different talents. And just because you're capable of doing one thing, that's your strength. Remember, I talked about strength and weaknesses because you always look for someone who has strengths in areas where you're weak, because the two of you can complement each other and help each other reach your goals. So how to reclaim your worth? It's time to rewrite the script. Here's how you can begin to reclaim your worth. Acknowledge the story. First, you have to acknowledge that you're telling yourself a story that's holding you back. Awareness is the first step to breaking free from any limiting belief. When you catch yourself thinking, I'm not enough, please notice it. And then ask yourself, is this story serving me? Reframe the narrative. Instead of seeing yourself perceived as your shortcomings as evidence of not being enough, reframe them as opportunities for growth. Not enough is a judgment, but growth is a process. Every step that you take, every challenge that you face is a part of your evolution. So instead of feeling inadequate, recognize it as progress. You're moving forward. And remember this. Think about the laws of attraction. Think about the affirmations and the things you tell yourself. How can you reframe those thoughts and reframe the things that you're telling yourself so that you can reframe and internalize all of the messages that you're giving yourself? Surround yourself with empowering messages. Start feeding your mind with positive affirmations and reminders of your worth. Affirmations like, I am worthy, I am enough, I am exactly where I need to be. Put them everywhere, on your bathroom mirror, in your journal, as reminders, on your phone. Reprogramming your mind is essential to shifting your internal dialogue. And that's what we talk about when we talk about the laws of attraction. Collaborate your wins. And I do challenges in this industry where I help people reframe those thought processes and how they tell themselves. So, we often gloss over successes, no matter how small, but celebrating wins, whether it's finishing a project, getting through a tough day, or simply showing up for yourself, creates a foundation of confidence. Write down your wins every day. It's simple but powerful way to show yourself that you are In fact, more than enough. Living the new script. Now that you've begun the process of rewriting your story, it's time to live it. Living your enoughness means trusting yourself, embracing your imperfections, and showing up as the person that you truly are without apology. What if I told you that you could live from a place of I am enough every single day? It's possible. It's already in you. Here's what I want you to do as an action step after listening to this episode. I want you to write down 3 reasons why you are enough and 3 reasons that come from within, not from external validation. They should be about your resilience, your compassion, or your willingness to keep growing. Put these on a sticky note and place them somewhere where you can see them every day. This is your new script. Every time you look at it, remind yourself of your worth. And when the not enough thoughts creep in, because they will, you'll have your new script to fight back with. Remember, what we're talking about here is how you can take your life and rewrite it so that you can put yourself exactly where you feel you're worth it. Friends, you are not defined by the story of not enough. You are defined by your ability to rewrite the story, to rise above the self-doubt, and to live in your power. Think. And I want to thank you for tuning in to Live Without Limits. Stop holding yourself back. Your breakthrough starts here. And remember, I hope that today's episode has helped you start rewriting your script and begin to embrace the truth that you are and always have been enough. So until next time, keep stepping into your future self and think without limits. Remember, you are worthy of all the success, happiness, and true love that life has to offer you. And my final message is this. You have to allow yourself to take control of your own life. Do not allow others to write your script and your goals for you. You need to write your own. And I can remember many, many years ago, my mother tried to push me into teaching. And I realized that back then, there were few opportunities for women in the workplace. There were women jobs like nursing and teaching, but there were few women that went into owning their own business, into taking control of their lives, that it was always the role of the woman being the homemaker and the husband being the financial supporter of the whole family. When we recognize that we are more than the roles that we are assigned by society, then we can live the life we were truly meant to live. All of us were put on this earth for some reason. And many, many years ago, when I was very young and I would question, why me? Why me? Because I grew up with a disability at a time when there were few options for people with disabilities, whether it's getting an education or getting gainful employment. And I came to the realization that there was a reason that I was going through what I was going through, and that it influenced who I became as an adult and the things that I did as an adult, because I knew that my goal was always to help others live the best quality of life possible within what they were truly capable of doing.